That's right. It's your hostess with the most. It's burning like toast. Is Cosmon Cal checking back in real quick, man. Just bringing a little Etherian light from the higher heavens, man, down here on Ooze as I jump off my Atavacid. As I jump out the big boy Atavacid, you dig what I'm talking about? Turn the lights down. You dig what I'm talking about? Turn the lights down. The Jew just can't see. Now, it came up in a conversation earlier. You dig what I'm talking about? About, you know, the how do I say, the identification. Who is the Aboriginal American, right? What does he look like? You know what I mean? Who is he today? And many confuse the idea of the Mongoloidal so-called Native American, the modern Eurasian who lives on the reservation. Because it has been taught to them in school, you dig what I'm talking about? They just regurgitate blindly and uncritically what they've commonly heard and pay no attention to the things that predate or, you know, don't really fit into the narrative that they've commonly heard. So with that being said, I thought it would be, you know, imperative that, you know, maybe a little light was shed on the situation. You know what I mean? Maybe a little light should be shed on the situation. And with that being said, this is Jehovah Chronicles, lesson number 104. Man, we done cracked the 100 point. I'm putting the brand new glacial maximums and the ice age gods together. You dig what I'm talking about? I'm just learning how to do it like a you know, like a movie. You dig what I'm talking about? So I'm putting that together. You dig what I'm saying? So along with the commentary to run along with it. So we gonna get into that, man. Let me see who in the house real quick, man. Who in the crib real quick. You dig what I'm talking about? My sister Ray up in this thing. Peace to you. Big sister Mahalia. My Ema better than yo Ema. That's right. True beauty for ashes in the house. Peace, peace, peace. Nazarene the scene, man. Thank y'all for coming through. Thank y'all for coming through, man. Home like homeschool says peace and love to everybody. That's right. That's right. Nazarene the scene TV say, let's get it. It's my sister Reese Wilson. Let's go. I got the Prince up in this thing. Judah Vaughn, man, as y'all come in, man, go ahead, smash that like button, man, and share the live out there to your family and friends. You dig what I'm talking about? You know, Cosmo don't want to keep you going, hold up too much long, because you know already know I'm long-winded. So let's get into some of this information. We just gonna jump right in. This is all fair use, all rights applied, and we're using this for teaching and educational and religious purposes. You dig what I'm talking about? So-called religious, spiritual purposes. You know, learning. And let me take this off the screen real quick. With that being said, let's get right to it, man. I want to show y'all this little video, set it up real quick, get some information of what we looking at when we look across the Americas. And we're going to get into some history, and when we all done with this, we're going to tie it up and clear it up about who is who with a wasp. Let's get to it. If everything can be heard, hit me with some vortexes in the chat. If you can hear this, hit me with some vortexes in the chat real quick. Let's get it popping, man. Make sure I can be heard. Hit me with some vortexes in the chat. Big shout out to the brother Medicine Man. Big shout out to you, brother. Pay close attention to all the pyramids and the mounds. These are ancient structures.
Autochtons, autochthonous of an inhabitant of a place, indigenous rather than descended from migrants or colonists.
The American nations. If America has had an aboriginal population, or autochtons, men born from the soil, it is there that they should be found, driven to the south and those remote climes by the ancient colonies of other nations. And they should offer features, complexions, languages, and manners totally different from any other.
I'm handsome, I'm fast, I'm pretty, and can't possibly be beat.
If all the Americans derive from ancient colonies, it is still there that ought to be found the primitive tribes. Driven on by the subsequent colonies and tribes. Therefore, these austral tribes are exceedingly interesting to study as the most ancient relics of American population. If the American nation sprung from ancient colonies, it is among the primitive population of the earth.
Two-million-year-old artifact, the Nampa figurine. According to geological evidence, the strait at this depth is believed to be at least 2 million years old. 340,000-year-old Y chromosome discovered in North America. The father gene or Y chromosomal Adam gene was discovered in South Carolina and dated 340,000 years. Old.
That their parents must be sought and found, since America appears to have been partly people even before the flood.
Let me go back a little bit.
The father gene or Y chromosome.
Right. What I was saying is I was on whatchamacallit real quick is the oldest Y chromosome in the world is found in America. This is from a man named Albert Perry. Right. His genome AOO, right? The oldest version is from a man from South Carolina. Let that sink in. That debunks the out of Africa theory all by itself. Because if we see the oldest in America and the next oldest AOO, or its later variant is only found marginally in certain areas where we have known to go and colonize, right? The Americans, it's more into Africa theory and instead of an out of Africa theory. You dig what I'm talking about? We're gonna learn that you dig what many times at the great cataclysms, you dig what I'm talking about. We went to the land that didn't get destroyed. And we set up colonies and foundations there. But the oldest Y chromosome in the world is not found in Africa. It's found in America. From a brother like you and me named Albert Perry, right? And dated to 340,000 years old.
Adam gene was discovered in South Carolina and dated 340,000 years old.
That their parents must be sought and found, since America appears to have been partly people even before the flood.
Y'all see that? Hold on. Watch this. Hold on, let me get that off the screen. Hold on. What is that? What is that? Are those lights? They say the Ica stones are, some of them are fake. Oh, they are, rah. How do you fake patina? What are these? Interesting. You're going to find out that our ancestors wasn't these backwood, Bama, you dig what I'm talking about, people. They had cities, mounds. We're going to find out in the end of the day, we are the megalithic builders. Them great pyramids and structures you find all throughout the world. The great Ahua and their sons, the Angui, down to us today. The modern Angui gone. Are the descendants of the great mound builder stock, and the great so-called giants of America, you're 50-50 mix of the great ass kickers and the great spiritual people all at the same time. This is why you see these men giant, massive. And if you notice, their arms are always going to be longer than their legs. That's a sign of the great Ahuan. Even though they're very tall, their legs are not as long as their arms. Right? So look how big they are next to all the trees, next to all the fauna, next to, they even got dinosaurs and stuff up here. watch how big the man is compared to how big the animals are. So in the time of great megafauna being upon the planet and man being part of fauna, doesn't it make sense that he would be large too? These are your great ahua. Look how big the man is. And this is a depiction of a triceratops, or four-horned animal. Obviously, what we would represent as a dinosaur, right? But we just look at the depiction of the man. You can tell a nigga, he got locks. He blowing on some good. You did what I'm talking about. He got some of that. He got some of that that Chickahominy root up in that thing. That boy blowing good on Zaza, talking to Jaja, riding on a triceratops. I'm just saying, it's here. Why is it even here? You dig what I'm talking about? I don't think man is that smart, especially at the turn of the century, 1900s, right? To be coming up with depictions of all this stuff when the bones were just being found. I'm just saying, how do you fake patina? Look how big the man is.
The Americans had long before Columbus large cities built of stones, bricks, or wood.
Hold on, what did he say? The Americans had long before Columbus large cities built of what? Stones, bricks, or wood with what? Walls, ditches, temples, places, some of which were of immense size and population.
With walls, ditches, temples, palaces, some of which were of immense size and population.
Hold on.
Eight miles long, equal to 3.
Now look at this. Now I want to show y'all something. Now mind y'all, we talking about the Kishwa Maya, of people of the Americas, aboriginal to America, right? And I want y'all to know, look, the Americans had long before Columbus large cities built of stones, bricks, woods with walls, ditches, temples, palaces. Some were of immense size and population. One of them was Otolun, right? You see that, right? I want y'all to watch this. Let's go get some more waspy, right? And take you back anciently. Ancient. We talking 30, 40, 50,000 BC, right? and right here in the Americas, right? Watch this. I said to the guardian angels, whom I had given to man, in the lands where I will take my people, let them build what? Mounds and walled cities with ladders to enter, like the ancients, in all divisions of the earth. They shall build alike, right? Because why? Because in the time of Cosmon, when did the time of Cosmon start? 1848. And for the next 3,000 years until 48, we are in the time of Cosmon. People thought it was cute that I was just putting something on the end of my name. No, or the beginning of my name. I'm letting you know I am Calvin of now. Right? I am Calvin of Cosmon. You dig what I'm talking about? Ain't none like me. Right? It won't be no more. Because what's happening? Because for in the time of Cosmon, which is now, their relics shall be testimony that the Ions foreran us, the Ahuans, the copper-colored races, here and everywhere in the world. And how do I know that the Ahuans are the copper-colored races? Read. Keep reading. Right? Their relics, the mounds, the cities, the great walled cities, these great buildings, right? Of the Ions, right? That the Ions foreran the Ahuans. Who are the Ahuans? The copper-colored race all over the world. So they're letting you know, even though the Ahuan is an ancient man and his descendants are on the planet, right? They don't exist anymore as the Ahuan. You dig what I'm talking about? We they descendants. Right? But in America, we know who the copper-colored race is. Right? But we talking about these mound builders who built the mounds with the walled cities around them, right? With the moats. Right? Great waterworks. That means you know geoengineering and polyengineering. You dig what I'm talking about? And megalithic building, because a lot of people think they lived on top of the mounds. They actually lived in the mounds. The mounds are structures to let you into a whole nother place. Like if you get a little time, man, look up Geronkuyu. There are massive cities right up under our feet and over top our feet. But the ones over top our feet are younger. Even though they're thousands and thousands, 10, 12, 18,000, places like Tiwanaku, Punku, they 20,000 plus years old. But these are even older, right? Because what? Foreran the Ahuan, us, the great builders. How do we know that the Ahuan built up the great copper-colored race, built all these megalithic structures in America? How do we know? Right? Because they named everything after themselves. Now, if you understand, right, that the copper-colored people anciently, a big people, right, are anciently called Ahua, right? IHUA, right? These are the large copper-colored aboriginal indigenous Americans, right? The great megalithic builders, right? And we're looking at some of their structures. How, if you understand that they are called Ahua, hit me with a vortex in the chat. IHUA, Ahua. We showed that the copper-colored race is Ahua. If you know it for a fact, hit me with a vortex in the chat. Right? If you know it now, that the large copper-colored people of the Americas are called Ahua, right? And Cosmon is saying They, the master builders, the great megalithic builders, are our forefathers. Right? If you know that now, and I just revealed to you, and you understand that the great megalithic builders are called Ahua, the copper-colored race. IHUA. How do you prove, Cosmon? Or how would they prove that the Ahuans, the great copper-colored Negro Aboriginal Americans, built these great structures that we're seeing? How would they be able to prove it? I would prove to you objectively that the Ahuans built it is because it's right in the name. T-O-T Ahua. If you see that, if you see right there that the Aboriginals, right, the great megalithic builders, right, who are called the Ahua, built what is called a city of the men of God, or where men, Ahua, become the land of God, the land of men of God. You see, Ahua means man. And the great megalithic builders built the structures and named them after themselves. Right? We just went and showed in Owaspy. Hold on. Where we at? Right here. Right here. Let them build mounds in walled cities with ladders to enter, like the ancients. Right? So we know that there are people older than the mound builders in America that did the same thing. And we know the mounds is real old. So now we're seeing there's a people even older that they're just after the great deluge, they are coming back rebuilding what? Like the ancients. And where? All divisions of the earth, not just America, all of them. For what? In the time of Cosmon, right now, today, their relics shall be testimony. What? That the iron foreran or predated the Ahuan. Who is the Ahuan? The copper-colored race all over the world. And look what else it say. So also I, the Lord, will provide in the Cosmon era now to discover what? The sunken land of Waka or Pan, so that mortals may comprehend the magnitude of the work of the Lord. So their understanding of Lemuria, their understanding of or misunderstanding of Lemuria and Atlantis and the sunken mystical land, which we know is called Waka in the most ancient Ponic tongue, but more commonly called Pan, right, will be found in this era, right, in our time. Hopefully, while we're able to see it, even though we found pieces of the remnant of Pan right off the remnant of Pan, which is called Japan, right, because it was carved right off the continent. And but it's saying in this time we're going to be able to find the sunken continent, which is now the floor of the Pacific. You dig what I'm talking about? But we know that the Ahuans are the copper-colored race, the great builders in America, right? And everywhere they went and built, they left their name on the structures, like Teotihuacan. Or okay, or what about this, Cosmo? Share this with them. Or what about, and don't get thrown off. Remember, anciently, right? All vowels are interchangeable, especially in the Phoenician-based syllabic language, right? So the I can sound like Y, or the Y can sound like I. So it's hua. So it's Saxe ahua. Y'all see that? Do y'all see that? So who built Saxe hua mine? The large copper-colored people of America. Me, you, our great-grandfathers and mothers. The great Algonquin nations. We called ourselves Ahua. We are the great megalithic builders. Look what we're known for. What? Megalithic building. Now, people came later and put these little lesser walls and built on top of the structures. But remember we talking 34, 35, 25, 35, 40,000 years ago. The flood, the real flood was 24,000 years ago. So many of these predate that. Some of these come right after that, 20,000, 18,000 BC. Some of them are older than the flood. Right? And they're just dating the materials around it, knowing that the rocks are thousands and millions of years old. But look what it say. When they got here, long before Columbus, right? Long before Columbus, they already had large cities built of stone, bricks or wood, with walls, ditches, temples, palaces. Now, we went and showed you where Jaja told them to do that 30, 40,000 years ago. It's been roughly, what, 63,000 years since we've had civilization? How many civilizations rose and fell in those times? We are in the 7th era of, you dig what I'm talking about, which starts Cosmon. There's been 6 types of nigga. Right? And it'll be one more after us before the system boots down and restarts again. Our whole people stock is going to go extinct and then come back again. Not reincarnation, a whole new people. Like, it's like you have a tree that grows apples, right? The apples that were grown in 2023 are not going to be the same apples that grow in 2024, even though it's of the same tree. It's the same thing with the planet. This stock that we're in, these apples that are currently growing in this era, in this time, will eventually, roughly in about 72,000 years from now, stop producing. Right? And then just like in the fall, it'll stop producing, and so does the earth. And just like in the winter, the earth is in an inhabitable time where things die off. But then guess what happens? Spring comes back around. And just like that are the cycles of the galaxy and the times and rotations of our planet. Why were they there long before Columbus? Large cities, right? New York been there. You dig what I'm talking about? San Francisco been there. Miami been there. Right? How do we know? Because we the copper color builders. The great megalithic structures in the world. We did this. And can do it again. Just because they don't know, don't mean don't nobody know.
Thebes, Babylon, and Kanoj, and Hindustan, and the size and monuments. Nearly all of the ancient sciences and useful primitive arts were known in America, as well as commerce and navigation, symbolic and alphabetic writing.
Hey, did you see that? Hold on, that was deep.
Symbolic America. Nearly all of the ancient sciences and useful primitive arts were known in America.
Look at this. Look at this here. Did you know of the 640 food crops grown in Africa today, almost 600 originated in the Americas? And then let me also show you why Africa ain't the motherland also. It's dry and ain't no water. Did you know that there is only roughly 67,000 square miles and roughly only 6,700, or there's let me get it right, 13,000 square miles of rivers and all that stuff in Africa, right? And 67 great water ports. You dig what I'm about? Clean, potable water drinking systems. 67. That's a lot, right? With roughly, if I'm not mistaken, is 72,000 square miles of drinkable, potable water flow, right? Well, in America, there's over 257,000 drinkable water places. Not 67, 257,000. With roughly 4.2 million square miles of drinkable potable water. How could a dry place like that support everything when all the water and everything, and now we know even the food comes from here? Just something to think on. All the water and the food here, but Africa birthed everything. I'm just saying, something to think about.
As well as commerce and navigation, symbolic and alphabetic writing. Nearly all of the Asiatic religions and customs the most civilized nations had even colleges and universities, canals and paved roads, splendid temples and monuments. Excerpts from the American Nations or outlines of the national history of the ancient and modern nations of North and South America by Professor C.S. Rafinesque in 1836.
Just go into a country, plague the whole place out, and then take over their buildings. New York was already there for thousands of years. San Francisco was there for thousands of years. Los Angeles was there for thousands of years. They were built by the indigenous people who were black and Indians as well. Whoa. The black people, they just go into a country, plague the whole place out, and then take over their buildings. New York was already there for thousands of years. San Francisco was there for thousands of years. Los Angeles was there for thousands of years. They were built by the indigenous people who were black and Indians as well. Whoa. The black.
Hold on, because they won't listen to it when Cosmon say it. When Cosmon say it, you won't listen. Right? But when the white man tell you, when the Arab tell you, when other man tell you, when you're with your PhD, he telling you what I'm telling you. I'm going to let him tell you again.
Was already there for thousands of years. They just go into a country, plague the whole place out, and then take over their buildings. New York was already there for thousands of years. San Francisco was there for thousands of years. Los Angeles was there for thousands of years. They were built by the indigenous people who were black and Indians as well.
Whoa.
The black people, they weren't brought over by slaves. They are the original owners of America. Black people, African Americans. They don't come from Africa. They were already here, and they plagued them out. And they stole the Smithsonian Institute, which is Jesuit controlled, stole their knowledge, stole their history, and now we're just left wondering who we are, where we come from, where we're going. We don't know.
Getting a little something about it. This
The Spanish monarchs received Columbus, also known as Cristobal Colon in Barcelona, Spain. Illustration of Cristobal Colon by Conde Rosalie de Larges in 1878. Notice the depiction of the indigenous Americans that were brought to Spain after the first voyage in 1492.
Look at the Indians. I said that's Colombo. But look at the Indians he brought with him. Now look. This is on his very first trip back to Spain, right? He brings indigenous Americans to Spain, not Africans into the Americans into Europe. Look, this is your first transatlantic slave trade. It's going to Europe. Look at the Indians. I'm gonna let this rock a little bit.
Europeans know the truth.
The Americas, the vast ranges of continents and landmasses stretching as far north as the Kufokoban Islands of Greenland to the southernmost point of Cape Horn, comprising the totality of North, Central, and South America, which is the majority of the land in the Western Hemisphere. When following the course of the constellations, those immovable and perpetually fastened upon America are reached, it will appear that, while all that is sublime in the historic past centers upon Egypt, all that is sublime in the prehistoric past centers upon America.
Ancient mounds older than Egyptian pyramids. Indians first built mounds in Louisiana in 4000 BC, making them among the oldest in the Western Hemisphere. Louisiana has mounds older than the pyramids in Mexico and South America, older than Stonehenge in England, and older than the earliest pyramids in Egypt.
Didn't it say the Ayans foreran the great Ahuans? So that matches. Science agrees with Owasp. The mounds are older than the pyramids.
And as the curtain which has hitherto concealed the prehistoric connection between the peoples of ancient Egypt and of America is lifted, it will be seen that the people of the eagle on the Nile, being descended from the original people of the eagle of this continent, America, the twine are one, or one and the same. and that prehistoric America was the original Egypt or Eagle Land prior to the mighty dispersion in the days of Peleg, when the earth was divided and the great globe itself was nearly rent asunder.
What we learned about the great day of Peleg.
Firstborn among continents, says Agassiz,
Really, the great
America
day of
has been
Peleg is
falsely
283
denominated the New World.
CE.
Hers was the first dry land lifted out of the waters. Hers the first shore washed by the ocean that enveloped all the earth beside. And while Europe was represented only by islands rising here and there above the sea, America already stretched in an unbroken line of land from Nova Scotia to the far west.
Maris Pacifici, Quad Volgo Mar del Sur. Pictured is a map of the Pacific Ocean drawn in 1589 by the Brabantian cartographer, geographer and cosmographer Abraham Ortelius of the Duchy of Brabant, a former state of the Holy Roman Empire established in 1183. Brabant was a province in the south of the Netherlands until it was dissolved after the Dutch revolt in 1795. Abraham Ortelius is conventionally recognized as the creator of the first modern atlas, and the one of the first to propose that the continents were joined before drifting to their present positions. The Maris Pacifici map was published in the 1592 edition of Abraham Ortelius' Atlas entitled The Tremorbis Terra, meaning the globe theater or theater of the world in Latin, and it is considered to be the first true modern atlas. The Maris Pacifici is...
Think about it. If because they're starting to try to deny the whole idea of continental drift, like that they're moving. But we understand that that's true, but right. Well, my thing is even if you don't believe that they're moving, we objectively see that they're moving, but even to the believers of continental drift, what started it? Right? And why do the so-called continents in the West, like America, South America, move back towards the East? Right? Why does Asia or Japhet and Shem, Persia, India, generally the land moves westward? How can they be close to each other and continental drift is happening, and one is moving in one direction and one is moving in the other direction? It would seem like all of it would move in one direction unless the point of ingress or impact or what started radiates from between these two positions. Only thing between North America and Asia is the Pacific. We saying the start of continental drift came with time, and this is why America moves towards the east, Asia moves towards the west. Crazy part is generally the place we know as Africa doesn't move. Interesting. Just something to think about.
It's one of the first printed maps to be devoted to the Pacific Ocean. The map reflects the first 75 years of European exploration within the world's largest body of water, albeit shown to be much smaller than the true size of the Pacific Ocean.
Correct. There are Egyptian or what they think are Egyptian artifacts in the Grand Canyon. No, there's just a offshoot of the Grand Khan. And plus, in later times, a connection between the pyramid builders like Thothma and the great wise men of America is already admitted to in OWASP. That's 23rd arc cycle. I'm saying we talking about 15,000 years before that. You dig what I'm talking about? That these places was being built and they already had connections with each other, but they didn't have to and even if they didn't, because everywhere this technology came up. But how we know is the more ancient Egyptian looking structures, or I would call outline. This is the understanding of the great Atlas. You dig what I'm talking about? Atlas ended up being he was an Ahun, right? Told in all the great stories. He came from the land of the Atoll. Atoll is America. This is why you have Atlantis and all those stories, right? Come from America or are about America, from the great Atlan. Atlan was a mythical king. You dig what I'm talking about? Spoken about being in America and being one of the first kings of the kingdom called Atlantis. So what you will be looking at and what we would be calling Egyptian is actually Atlantean. Another great story tells of the great king during the fall of Troy, right? Who comes from the land of the Atoll, past the Herculean pillars, the pillars of Hercules, and comes from the place where the sun sets. Obviously, that's what time of America. You dig what I'm talking about? But he was the ruler. This is what I'm saying. He was the ruler of Atlantis and Ethiopia. His name is Memnon, right? Memnon will be remembered in the Greek historical tales forever as the only person who could have bested Achilles, right? And look, even Zeus had to cheat for Achilles to end up beating Memnon, right? He said he wasn't gonna get in it, but then when Memnon, the nigger son, you dig what I'm talking about, was about to kill the Greek son, he had a change of heart and he stalled him out. He made him freeze for a second, and Achilles stabbed him through and killed him. You dig what I'm saying? And they took the great Memnon's body, right? So it said, and and they went back at it, they went back to Atlantis, right? Or what they say is in the story, right? Being told. And his captain, right, who fought to get the body back, right? And then there's a story of a great king who fell in battle also on the Greek side, and another guy fought to get the body back and brought him back. Well, the guy who gets Memnon's body and moves him back is named Meshi, Mexi, right? And Meshi get the body and comes back and buries him in a place in Atlantis, right? And where they built up a big temple and buried him, Memnon, in this place, right? And in this place is called the Temple of the Sun, or what? Excuse me. And the man who fought to go get him back, his general, Meshi. They end up naming the land after him. This is the story. I'm just telling you what the story say. The story say he bring Memnon body back and place him in a big old sarcophagus, right? That's all carved up and painted up. This is what it say. War scenes and all type of shit. This is what it say. And they named the land after the man who brought him back and made him like the ruler or the king. And so they named the land after the man. So in the ancient Nuado, ancient Panic tongue, land is called Ko, right? Ko. And so the man's name is Meshi, right? So the land becomes, the land of Meshi is Mexico, right? Or Mexica. And funny, they found a temple, a massive temple in Mexico, right? Where this king named Palenque was found. And right on the cover in this big room, covered in scenes of war and triumph and all this stuff, right, is a massive grave with so-called Palenque buried up under this massive thing, carved up, beautiful. I want to show y'all the King Pakal. Let me see. At Palenque carving. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. No, okay, hold on. This is Palenque. Now, right where they say, hold on, make sure everybody can see this. Right now, right where they look, this is Palenque. Right, hold on. Is it? Am I dragging behind a little bit? All right, here we go. So, this is Palenque. Why is it? Let me share this. Make sure everybody can see that. All right. That's Palenque. Now, right in the exact same place where Memnon is supposed to be buried, in a land named after his general, right, called Mexico, under a big ass floor slab. Because see, this is a slab of rock. It's massive, tons and tons and tons and tons and tons. After a dude who went and fought the great Achilles over in Troy, right? Supposed to come back, get buried in a temple, right? In a land named after his general. The land is called Mexico. Now we go down there, we find exactly what we get there, but the natives or the indigenous aboriginals are calling the man that we would know historically as Memnon, they're calling him Palenque, right? Or Paca, the great King Paca, right? Now look at the date they give it. We know this is far older. Even if they talking about the time of Troy, they talking beginning of the new kingdom, 1600 BC. If you talking, that's just if you talking Troy. If you believe that this is Memnon, which I'm just saying. Why is the connection there? If it, you dig what I'm saying? If this ain't You dig what I'm talking about? So why is the tradition so simple? And they calling this Paka. Right? It is in 683, near the end of classical Maya civilization, in the middle of the jungle. We find a great city ruled by a great king, his name Paka, right? Who lived to a ripe old age of 80. So we know, right, whoever Pakal is in 683 is not Memnon. Right? If you believe that this temple was carved by some backwater people in 683, I believe this. Listen, the people that's there now couldn't have carved this. These was carved by the great master builders, the great copper colored people, the Ahuan. We know that. So, you know, we're going to get right back to it. But that's the story of Memnon. And even he comes up out of America. So don't get it twisted about the history here. You dig what I'm talking about? Because it goes too far back. We created history.
The Pacific Ocean is the largest and deepest of Earth's 5 oceanic divisions.
Y'all seen it? Yeah. What's in the Pacific, y'all?
The Pacific Ocean is the largest and deepest of Earth's 5 oceanic divisions. It extends from the Arctic Ocean in the north to the Southern Ocean to Antarctica in the south, and it is bounded by the continents of Asia and Australia in the west and the Americas in the east. The trade winds, or the easterlies, are the prevailing winds that perpetually flow from east to west across the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. The Atlantic trade winds flow from Europe and Africa to North, Central, and South America by way of the Atlantic equatorial currents that flow from Europe and Africa, and then circumventing west to east from the Americas to Europe and Africa by way of Gulf streams and the Atlantic equatorial countercurrents, or westerlies, in the middle latitudes. The Atlantic trade winds have been used by sailors or seafarers for centuries, and many ancient civilizations traversing the Atlantic Ocean east to west from Europe and Africa to the Americas, and west to east from the Americas to Europe and Africa, or transatlantic crossings.
Look at that. Massive boats, they can hardly make it. So trust me, getting across these oceans wasn't no easy thing. Never was, never will be.
The Pacific trade winds are permanent east to west prevailing winds that flow in the Earth's equatorial region. The trade winds blow mainly from the northeast and the northern hemisphere, and from the southeast and the southern hemisphere, strengthening during the winter and when the Arctic oscillation is in its warm phase. Above the equator, Pacific Ocean trade winds blow from northeast. Below the equator, they blow from the southeast. The trade winds meet at what sailors call the doldrums, or the cons, because of the monotonous windless weather. Trade winds have been used by modern sailors to cross the Pacific Ocean for centuries, and it has also been used by many ancient civilizations for eons, traversing the waters from the lands and islands throughout the Pacific Ring of Fire.
The Ring of Fire, also known as the Pacific Ring of Fire, the Rim of Fire, the Girdle of Fire, or the Circum-Pacific Belt, is a region around much of the rim of the Pacific Ocean where the majority of the many volcanic eruptions and earthquakes on Earth.
Yeah, it's there. We know. Why? Do you know your history? Do you know your Algonquin history? Go look at show 103.
The Ring of Fire is a horseshoe-shaped belt about 25,000 miles long and up to about 310 miles wide. The Ring of Fire includes the Pacific coasts of South, Central, and North America, and the many islands in the western Pacific Ocean.
Then it said the Great Tube was fastened, at the borders of Shinva, right? By the pressure of the higher heavens, it locked it into place. Man, that carved everything you see over here up. Look at the floor of the Pacific. Imagine everything you see in there was above water. It's a massive continent. You could fit 4 Africas side by side in the 5 of them. If you really want to get to it, you dig what I'm talking about? And Africa's in the Pacific. I know this is a rendering and it's hard to really wrap your mind around it, but that is a long way from San Francisco and Los Angeles all the way over here, let alone just to get to Japan. Hawaii, right, which they got depicted over here closer to the America, is really all the way over here in the middle. It's right here. So that's how big this is. Look at all that. You know what I mean? This ain't even to scale. This thing is just massive. But this is what they call in Zealandia, right? This area right here, right? Calling this Zealandia. Nigga, that's just, look, this is pine. All the way down here to South America. You can't even see where Pan at, right? This Pan, boom, 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 boom. See the outline? See how it's carved up there? It got it carved. And look, the mountain range just stopped right here. This is the mountain range it was carved off of. What? Right here, the whole West Coast cracked like an egg. Right? See the Rocky Mountains, Sierra Madres, Peruvian mountains right here, South American mountains, all this. All of them shot up 6,000 miles in one day at one time, 24,000 years ago, right here. Boop, 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 boop. All these massive mountains. The mountain that Hawaii sits on, right, would be, if it was above the water, the biggest in the world. Bigger than the Mount Everest. Right? Because actually it is sitting on the floor. So that means, dude, that's miles and miles and miles. That's what, 8-9 miles deep? How deep is it? That's thousands of feet. You dig what I'm talking about? You got to wrap your head around it. The bottom was on top. They sunk the top to the bottom. You ever try to push a basketball beneath the... Man, listen.
In the midst of the Pacific Ocean lies approximately 30,000 Pacific islands. The origin of surfing is said to date to 400 AD, and it is credited to the Pacific islands of Polynesia and Hawaii. Although the birthplace of modern surfing is associated with the islands of the Pacific Ocean, the first Peruvian settlers have tried to ride the waves for fish since ancient times. Peru, after Brazil, is the second most important country in the region in the sport of surfing today. Let's put the pieces together so far. The aboriginal populations of the Americas, autochtons, America's hidden histories, Egoland, firstborn among continents, the Pacific Ocean. You may be wondering, where is he going with all of this? Well, let me make it all make sense so we can see just how the history and the knowledge of the post-flood Americas already stretching in an unbroken line of land from Nova Scotia to the far west is very significant and important, especially in regard to how the antediluvian and post-flood populations of the Americas traversed and migrated naturally by way of Mother Nature to the landmasses and islands throughout the Pacific Ocean to the far west. And from the Americas, the far west would be where? Remember, the Pacific trade winds are the permanent east to west prevailing winds that flow in the Earth's equatorial region. And above the equator, the Pacific trade winds permanently and perpetually blow from the northeast or from North and Central America. Below the equator, the Pacific trade winds permanently and perpetually blow from the southeast or from South America. So with a little common sense, wouldn't it be more plausible for the antediluvian and post-flood civilizations of the Americas to easily traverse across the Pacific Ocean from east to west and the perpetually permanent and natural Pacific winds, or is that too far-fetched? Because the permanent east to west Pacific trade winds naturally flow about 15 miles an hour from North, Central, and South America across the Pacific Ocean and throughout the approximately 30,000 Pacific islands to Australia, Papua New Guinea, Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam, Philippines, China, Korea, Japan, and to Russia, which is also known historically as Siberia and Tartary, or Tartaria. However, traversing from these continents and islands against the Pacific trade winds and currents also occurs by way of jet streams that flow from west to east, following the boundaries between the hot and cold air flowing across the Pacific Ocean. The hot and cold air boundaries that flow across the Pacific Ocean are more pronounced in the winter, making traversing west to east more navigable because the jet streams are at their strongest. So we can now ascertain that from creation, many civilizations have accomplished traversing the Pacific Ocean from east to west and the perpetual trade winds that permanently blow from the Americas and from west to east and the conditional jet streams that blow from Oceania and Asia. In the Pacific Ocean, one could literally island hop between the approximate 30,000 Pacific islands from the Americas to Australia and Asia and vice versa. Thus, prior to any European invasions or conquests of the Americas, ancient civilizations traversed the Pacific Ocean as well as the Atlantic Ocean from the eastern and western hemispheres. This fact will have further confirmation later in the presentation. So the question that is often purposely avoided is, historically, who are the Aboriginal and ancient people of the Pacific Islands, Australia, Oceania, Southeast Asia, China, and Japan?
Fair use, fair use, fair use. Damn. Yo. White and yellow. Little people. Crazy. Dang, they look like Flip Wilson. Uh-oh. You see that white and that yellow? You see that white and that yellow? Color races all around the world, man. There's somebody who aboriginal everywhere. In America, today is misnomer as Negro, Black, African American is indigenous. Didn't come from Africa. Soil, on conscience. Look, and we every phenotype. Every phenotype. Tell me them ain't niggas, man. Oh, look, man. Hey, you can't tell me them, man. You can't tell me them, no. Look at Hawaii. They don't show you this Hawaii, do they? Huh? They don't show this Hawaii, do they? See, I even though I understand that I am Aboriginal and I love that, and you dig what I'm talking about, but there are Aboriginal people to the world, man, and to understand that we come up out of the same genetic stock, you dig what I'm talking about? All children of the Most High. Why? Because you really just see them from the same 12,420 people that survived the cataclysm that you know as the flood of Noah, right? The great deluge. Everybody on this planet descend from 12,428 people who scattered across the whole goddamn globe and went on to repopulate them areas. And them areas have come down to us through religion, folklore, tales, You dig what I'm talking about? Because Creator said that my people will remember the flood. They will have stories of the flood. This is why everybody in the world got one. Everybody got a tale. You dig what I'm talking about? But look, we don't get to see this type of Hawaii. They don't show this a lot. You, shout out to medicine. How on the solution. Build mounds. Why is their hair so important? Because you could tell who. Even though creators say flesh and blood will not enter the higher heavens. But while we down here, we gotta take care of that flesh and blood. You dig what I'm talking about? And that starts off with knowing who you are. And this is why that understanding.
Do we not see the very same physiognomies and phenotypes in North, Central, and South?
There's no mistake that the ideal that certain people in the world are waking up to understanding that they've actually always had, but was warred out of them, oppressed out of them, religified and beaten and indoctrinated and genocided against. You dig what I'm talking about? Because it was always the light of the world and the darkness wanted to smother it. But look at your father. Notice, everybody who ever oppressed the so-called people of light, right? That civilization goes bottom up, and yet the people of light always keep moving. Same thing happened to the great Algonquin nations, the great Anguis, the Negroes of America. They were warred against, pressed against. You know what I mean? Our history is burned and battered and, only spoken of in hushed tones and behind the scenes and deep in the woods and practice behind closed doors in the cities. You dig what I'm talking about? Because we ran the cities till they start literally genociding us on paper and on land. You was either with the program or you fought against it. Later, they brought in the ideal of indenturement, sold it to our people, and we start bringing these people over here as indentured servants, and they became the populace, right? Not even knowing on the other end that over a 7-year term or whatever, when they was done, that these people was already promised land. You did what I'm talking about. And many of us was getting land, who had European ancestors, black and white, quote, was doing deals with the crown, getting land for bringing indentured servants over here. You did what I'm talking about. But that don't negate the fact that it was already aboriginals here who bought into the indenture system. So we was owning what you would call indentures, right? And in these plot playbacks, many of the crowns and all that, and they would have fallouts. So what ended up happening is that they invented what you would call farming. See, I ain't talking about agriculture and planting. You're talking about farming. Farming is a way to tax the agriculture. That's what a farmer does. He's a tax agent. he gets the monetary value out of the agriculture. That's called farming. Anything that you a planter deals with the plantation he's planting. You dig what I'm talking about? That's direct agriculture. But the finances of agriculture is farming. And that's where that term come from, man. And boy, through that tax system, they wore our people out. And they became peonaged to their own land. I'm just trying to tell you, the only reason we was on the plantation is because we owned the plantation. Real talk.
South America today?
Horn, Grotius, and other authorities admit that our continent has received part of its population from southern lands Australia and Australasia, and Nadalak recognizes Melanesian features on some of the Aboriginal tribes. The physical characteristics of the American Aborigines are admitted to point towards affinities with people belonging to the Pacific rather than those bordering the opposite coasts of the Atlantic Basin. Certain features recall the Melanesian inhabitants of the Pacific Islands rather than the African Negro races. The secret genocide of the Tasmanian people. As has happened everywhere that the Europeans have conquered and settled, death and destruction was brought to the native Tasmanian people who were completely and violently butchered out of existence by European invaders. First through disease which wiped out thousands. Sound familiar?
Yeah, but don't get caught up in color. Don't get caught up in color, because many of them Europeans who came over here look just like you, and they ain't give a damn. You dig what I'm talking about? Yeah, they was the pale faces that came with them. But listen, the crazy part is many of the pale faces come from Africa. They was the indentures. The white boys coming from Europe and the niggas coming from Europe is who was enslaving your ancestors. And some of our ancestors got caught up in that trade, right? I'm not denying that it didn't happen to some people, because they did come through here warring, oppressing, and you dig what I'm talking about, playing one side against the other, different tribal beefs against different tribal beefs. You dig what I'm saying? And we can't act like that didn't happen. But how the story has been told is not true, especially when in the end of the day, through reclassification, I somehow, as an Aboriginal American, turn into an African. And notice,
The last of the Tasmanian.
it don't matter what you was talking about. They was always talking about a copper-colored Aboriginal type people, right? Here in the Americas, right? Creator said, I even down to the hairs of their head, I left through the annals of time, so you can prove my work. Down to their hair. Right? Look, shout out to my boy Big Ab. You dig what I'm talking about? Shout out to my boy Big Aboriginal Power, man. Remember when I was telling y'all about the idea of, first of all, the idea that creator is just limited to making man in one place like Africa is ridiculous. Man was created everywhere it was possible for man to live, and so is his color. You dig what I'm talking about? Per your color, you use light a different way. Closer to the equator, you browner. Why? Because you resist light and store it. You must weather light. That's why your skin is brown. You have more melanin. You react different. You're able to weather the sun. White folks actually use the sun, right? The pale skin doubles down on itself and hence burns fast, right? So they're able to take light and redouble it down on their cells naturally. Hence, it burns fast if it's in direct light and heat. But in cooler areas, that same light or lesser amounts of it allows them to dominate cold areas. You see what I'm saying? Keeping a temperature that we wouldn't like. We don't want, you know what I mean? We wouldn't primarily like the colder areas, especially in the early ages of man. You dig what I'm talking about? Especially if you brown skin. You dig what I'm talking about? But it allows people with paler skin to dominate more cold areas because that light, they would be in places like caves, and you dig what I'm talking about, and stuff like that. And they would have to be in these areas in less amounts of light and fire and camp light. You dig what I'm talking about? They would have to be able to use that to still keep going as a people. You dig what I'm talking about? And you lesser amounts of light in these different climates. You dig what I'm talking about? Would call for different skin color to dominate the area. So the colder the area, more likely the paler the skin, the more towards the equator or where light dominates more, the browner the skin, and so is man everywhere around the world. And so are the animals with them. Right along with them. You dig what I'm talking about? You don't see white foxes till you get to the north. They're everywhere else, but in the north, they get to be white. You see what I'm saying? So it is what it is. And man seems to follow the same template as the rest of nature. Now, I wanted to show y'all the improbability that all men could have came out of Africa, right? Because one thing we know about the human structure is it needs water to exist. Now, I want to get to a lesson that my young bro, Big Al, brought out the other day. You dig what I'm talking about? Shout to him. You dig what I'm saying? And if y'all getting a little something up out of this, hit me with a 3 in the chat real quick. Hit me with a 3 in the chat. Y'all getting a little something up out of this. And let me start this off. Make sure I'm in the right place because I want to show y'all about water. Watch this.
It's so scorched hot, that bitch a fucking desert.
Hold on.
Y'all support the channel, man. We got root words cooking in this motherfucker. Y'all think he done?
Hold on.
I don't know how to answer some of you.
So how can you be a motherland?
Hold on.
I don't know how to answer some of you pan boo boo motherfuckers be getting on my nerves with that shit.
Man, hit that like button, man. You gotta support my brother, man.
Shout out my boy AP.
Shout out to everybody that's in the building, man. That's rocking out with us.
Make sure
Let's
we
keep
can
it
hear
Man,
that.
this mother, man, this
Watch
was great.
Watch this.
So this is a
Remember I
map
told y'all about this.
here of the Nile River. This is a picture of the Mississippi River. As you can see, all these extended little passageways of water that's coming off, feeding almost every corner in America. So crops and all can harvest and grow. Nile River, nothing. Nothing. So the motherland, how y'all producing Africa? This is modern map. That's it. You got the blue Nile that comes off, which goes right back into the water, as you can see here. So how can you be a motherland with only one main river flowing the same way as the original? Now, let me tell you what I know. When you love a place like home and you have to leave home, you'll probably wind up going somewhere that reminds you of home, right? So if civilization started here and in the North and South Americas, and they wanted to go somewhere that looked like home, a river that flows up north instead of south, this would be the reminder.
I don't know if y'all want to see this, man. Y'all ain't even supporting the channel, man.
Man, shout out my boy Bap.
Y'all ain't even supporting. I just need y'all to support. That's it.
This is what I want to show y'all right here, though. Hold on. Dig this.
We got another one. This time, a Pan-African. I was just in this dude's live, and he literally kicked me out the live when I start dropping them receipts on him. He was going on and on and on about how we're from Africa, and I shouldn't be disputing it. And we all know what I'm about to do. This is a map of all the freshwater springs on the planet. Because you must have missed my last video when I showed that America has 250,000 rivers, equating to 3 million square miles of river. And South America got another 2.7 million miles. And as you can see here, Africa only has 67 rivers, equating to 6,800 miles. But back to the map, because as you can see here, you can see the different colors. There's light blue, dark red, and orange. The dark red means it's a hot spring. The orange is the warm spring. The light blue is the free water spring. And the dark blue is the paid water spring, where you have to pay to get the water. Now, as you can see here, America has plenty of fresh water springs, including over 1,600 hot water springs. And as you can see here, this is Asia. They barely got any freshwater springs. And as you can see here, Africa doesn't barely have any water springs either. And as you can see here, it says the crops from America saved the Afro-Eurasian civilization from starvation. It says the extra nutrition.
Hit that like button, man. We going in, man. I'm not gonna play off.
That's crazy. You dig what I'm talking about? That's crazy. Hold on one second. Shout out my boy Big Aboriginal Power. All right. But see, the dope thing about Owaspy, man, look, if you getting a little something about this, man, let me know. Okay, there they go. I see them threes. I see them threes. You see what I'm saying? But see, the dope thing about Owaspy is you ain't got to argue with them. Right? You want to know about straight about the Indian, nothing but the American Aboriginals, right? We want to know what was their ancient name, right? What was their ancient name, right? What is they called then, right? And describe them so we'll know that a certain people is from this stock. There was a stock of people who did this, right? Boom. We go to the Lord's third, right? Now, and this is the dope part. Owaspy is the only book or so-called spiritual book in the world, Craig, that clearly tells you that the Negro of America, or the Angui, right? Today's modern Anguigan, or iron-leaning Gan, God meaning modern man. Hold on, let me move this over. Right? Right, hold on. We just get right to it. Dang, this thing crazy. All right. We just get right to it, right? The Lord's third. And this is about a description of the so-called Aboriginal American, or the Aboriginal American, the so-called Native American, the Indians, the so-called blacks and Negroes, right? But how do you prove that? Well, then you must describe them. Look what Owaspy says about these people. The Anguis, or upright talking man, the first man, right? How do we know that Angui means man and upright man, first man, is some of our descendants who kept alive some of this history, who are today called the Haudenosaunee or the Iroquois, still today, right, use the term Angui in as its original Iroquois term, meaning first man, right? They still call themselves that today, right? Right on there, the Haudenosaunee Iroquois website, right? They still call themselves literally Angui, right? But we're gonna show who the people is, the Anguis. And have you ever met an Angui? We gonna see. You don't know none. You ain't got no homeboys. That's Anguis. The answer is actually, the question is actually rhetorical. You don't know none. We don't know none. I don't know none. Right? But this is about the description of the very first Indians in the Americas. The Anguis, right, came suddenly into the world. By the thousands and thousands they came in the north, south, east, and west. And they had long hair. Oh, okay. So they had long hair. All right. That leaves a lot of people in the thing. You know what I mean? You could have Mongoloid types, you could have some white folk, you could dig what I'm talking about, you could have some Negroid types, you could have a lot of that, leave a lot of, from the people who in America today, it leaves a lot of choice, right? But the hair, right, is black generally. So that kind of narrows it down, you know what I mean? So you could kind of have some Hispanics, and then you think, a little Taino, you dig what I'm talking about, a little, you could have some, some different flavors up in there. You dig what I'm talking about? If it's just black, you could have the modern Native Americans, you could have the modern Hispanics, you could have all them in there, right? You could have all of them in there. But that hair is black and coarse. Uh-oh. So the first people in the Americas, right, if we're going to describe them today, they got long, black, coarse hair. That's very specific. Huh? Right? It's almost like an African, but it's long. My Hamitic Bantu brothers don't generally even grow hair long. You know what I mean? You don't see too many people, you know, and mostly the people who do have, you know, that cut with them. You know, a lot of places we did migrate to. We migrated to them. We founded those places like Sierra Leone, right? Like Liberia. Did you know its capital is called Monrovia because it is named after President Monroe, right? We went over there and founded Liberia. But this kind of shifts a whole bunch of people out of the way when your hair is long, black, and coarse, right? Because even generally, my African brother's hair is not long, black. First of all, it's not long. It's black and it's coarse, but it's not generally long. But remember, we talking about the American Indian. We just talking about them. We're not talking about Africans. We ain't talking about nobody else. We just showing what they look like. They had long, black, coarse hair, and that is very specific because it knocked everybody out the box, except who we would know today as the blacks, the black folk. You dig what I'm talking about? The nigga, the quote-unquote African-American, right? But remember, we talking about the aboriginal. But how is the only people in the America, right, that got long black coarse hair is the Negro, right, quote unquote, when we're describing the aboriginal, and he the only one that got this head. And then let's just knock it out the box. But their skin was brown, copper colored. Okay. So we're looking for copper colored people, but they gotta have long black nigger hair. Do we know anybody else in America but the Negroes that are copper colored brown, right? With long black coarse. If you know anybody else they got nigger hair besides the nigger in the Americas, right? Please put that in the chat because we don't know none. Ain't none. It's only one, right? Proving the aboriginal is today misnomered as black. We are the Angwi, the Negro. That's where all that comes from. The Anguis came suddenly into the world by the thousands and thousands. They came in the north, south, east, and west, right? We're talking about in America. And they had long hair, black and coarse. That's only one people in America. But their skin was brown, copper color. That's still the funny. The people with the black and coarse hair are also brown, copper colored, generally for the most part. Funny, in the definition of American 1882 Webster Dictionary, they describe the American as the indigenous aboriginals found here, the copper colored indigenous aboriginals found here by Europeans. Funny, they using copper colored too, just in the definition of American. Their skin was brown, copper colored. There ain't no other book in the world that say that. And their arms were short like the irons, like mine and yours. We proportion. They very proud was the Negro. They would not mix back with the Ahuans, the giant nigger types, and they would dare not mix with the sacred people because of the commandment of the Lord. And look, the Indians of America became a new race in the world. But see, the crazy part is, remember, I told you they from Ahuan, the large copper-colored people stock. Hold on, let me show you what an Ahuan is right from the definition in a waspy. Look, hold on. Let me show you what an Ahuan is. The Ahuan is a half-breed between the Ions, the people who get it, and the Druks, the people who don't. That don't matter about size. That's what an Ion and a Druk is. A person who gets it and a person who don't. But they became large because the people with high spirituality tend to be short. But the Druks, the very physical people, tended to be larger. Their hybrid offspring, the Ahuan, the nigger stock, right, became the large copper-colored race. Right? In the Americas, these large copper-colored races, right, called the Ahuans, right, built this because they are the Ahua. Right? The large copper-colored race, the megalithic builders. Yeah, them guys. Them are forefathers. Right? But remember, these are ancient, archaic people who don't exist anymore. But I just wanted you to know they wasn't no dummies. Huh? And then it hit different, right? It hit different, right? Because it hit different when you learn that Cosmo, I've been telling y'all, ain't even nobody else like us in the world. There ain't no more niggas. They only in North America. Right? But it's different when God say, I'm a true God. Say, I'm going to leave one of these Ahuans, one of these large copper-colored races in the Americas, specifically the nigga with the most salts, I'm going to leave him in North America. And remember, he got to be copper-colored brown with long black nigga hair. But it hit different when he put you there on purpose and he reaffirmed that you the only one of your type in the world. But he did that on purpose. Dig this. This is the book of the wars, right? 21 and 11, right? God, right, said, for I will leave one race of Ahuans on the earth, right? In Guatemala, right? In North America, the North American Indian. I will leave one large copper-colored negroid with long black nigger hair, right? In America, specifically in North America, and he in the Cosmo era will be called the North American Indian. My thing is, they ain't calling us that yet. Uh-oh. Do you see the implications? Huh? Do you see the implications? We just bringing this information back. They don't call us that yet. For I will leave one race of copper-colored Negroes on the earth. Ain't no more niggas like me and you. They only in America specifically. Right? They are misnomered as Negroes, Indians, coloreds, freedmen, Africans, African American, blacks, Afro Americans, freemans, Indians. Huh? We are the last of the great niggas on the earth, the great copper-colored race. The Ahuan. I ain't making this up. The Creator is the only one telling you this. Why? I wasn't there. But we only got one of these in North America. And he said, right, that I put you there on purpose, right? For I will leave one race of Ahuans on the earth. One. Nobody like you, sister. Ain't nobody like you, bro. Why are you aboriginal to this thing? And your Creator saying it. And then can't nobody stop this. It is what it is. Sometimes ideas come to fruition because it's already time to be fulfilled. And to understand now, Owaspi is telling us that it is the reason, especially if you call yourself Black, African, Negro, all that today, and you look back in your heritage and history, being primarily from here, you dig what I'm talking about? The crazy part is today, in the Cosmine era, you have your Algonquin ancestor back, specifically the Algonquins, who has been strong, even in their life, strong, standing on side of the Creator, coming back, inspiring you today. So be glad that if you hear, as a faith is getting this type of understanding, that it's the Creator revealing to you that this is okay. Because I'm just revealing what they was trying to hide from you. They trying to make you look over to Africa so you don't look beneath your feet. Because you the North American Indian, copper colored, brown, with long black nigger hair. Huh? In Guatemala, specifically, Northern Guatemala, you are the North American Indian. This is your Creator saying it, right? And look, to prove it is even to the Cosmine era. So you at least gonna make it to the Cosmine era, to the time of light, where these things can be made obvious. Things that were made dark are now being brought to light, right? And now things in the light are starting to become etheric. This is why our culture is so dominant and catchy. Because we the last of that tap in. You dig what I'm talking about? That straight from that old root Algonquin. You dig what I'm talking about? And to prove, watch this. Watch this. Hold on. Hold up. And to show you that it's us, the Negroidal stock, the Algonquins, of America, right, that are rocking with the Creator, and that we on point, and we showing the literature, and that we, the Algonquins, the fact that the Negro is the Algonquin is that, look, first book of God, let's prove it from your Creator mouth, right? Listen to the voice of the millions of China. Have you heard voices from the million of China talk about the Creator? Have you? No. And India, ancient Hindustan, ancient Bharata. It's not a whole bunch of names. You dig what I'm talking about? But in ancient Vindu, right? India, right? Have you heard a great voice and movement coming about the creator, about India yet? Specifically the creator? Huh? But what about the remnants of the Algonquins? Where are the Algonquins from? They're from America, right? The Algonquins are aboriginal to America, right? So we're going to prove that the voice of the creator that's being brought today is from the remnants of the Algonquins, right? Is the fact that Selah Shalom, Malachi Maccabee, Daryl Cosmon and Cosmon Cal are the only voice for the creator in the world that's bringing this creator, that's standing by the creator, standing on business over here, bringing it to the world, huh? Bringing light to everybody. Proof is that we are the only ones. What voice came out of China? What voice came out of India? It's only one voice standing up in this world, hottest thing in the world, huh? The faithists, right? We the remnants of the Algonquins, because we the only voice, and it's coming out of America. Proof is Daryl Cosmon, Malachi Maccabee, Cosmon Cal, Selah Shalom are all niggas. So guess what? The remnants of the Algonquins are today the niggas. You want me to prove it again? Keep reading, because our Bible is a power today. Ooh. Owaspy is a power, and you know it. Everything gets sliced and diced when you bring it to the light, when you bring it to the champ, when you bring it to the Father. You already lost trying to battle. Creator is undefeated. Huh? Owaspy is a power. The Bible is on the wane. Look, it's objective. Quran is on the wane. Look. Huh? The creator's people are appalled at the work of the bloody swords of the gods of the false religions, your Buddhists, Brahmins, Muhammadan or Islamic, Christian doctrines, your bloody swords. Huh? They, who? The remnants of the Algonquins, the niggas. They, with that power, coming out, emanating out that Bible, huh? Out that Owaspy, that book of earth, sky, and spirit. They will not fall down. Shout to the creator gang, man, and worship you as an annual decree. They know that the creator, Yahweh, the all, the ever-present, the beginning, the end, the quickener, the mover, Alpha and Omega, huh? They know he's mightier than you. Huh? Be considerate of all the races of men and their doctrines, rites, and ceremonies. Behold, I raise up the nations of the earth in my own way. According to the times and conditions of mortals, so do I administer to them from my heavenly kingdom. So the proof is, it all coming in Yahweh time, and that listening to the voice of the millions of China, huh, ain't happened. Listening to the voice of the millions of India ain't happening yet. But the remnants of the Algonquins is the start. And it's in the hands of us, huh? This is why they don't want you to understand your Aboriginal history, because it ties you back to creator and power and love, man, and oneness and unity. Algonquin means ekoquim, out of many, one, unity. It's not just the people. It's not just the name, right? It's not just the nation. It's not just the language. It is all. He named himself after the creator, Echo Queen. Now pronounced the Anglicized as Algonquin. The out of many one. Represented as the circle. Right? You have tried to convert all my people, but have failed utterly. Create a gang, man. They don't like it when you know what you know. They don't like it when you know what you know. Oh, nobody's ever came back and told you how you know. Is a non-spiritual person even able to comprehend spiritual things that need spiritual answers? I say no. That'd be like trying to explain something spiritual to a non-spiritual person is like literally trying to teach a dog geometry. Right? Wrong, Raggy. Yeah, we understand why you get it. You can't. It hit different. Let's start there. Let's start right there. You can't. You have tried to convert all my people, but have failed. Behold, I come now with a new book, and they will accept it from my hand. I prophesied this to you beforehand. Oh, so this is even before it's starting to happen. And now look, we start to seeing it happening. What? The remnants of the Algonquins. Remember, this was told in 1881. The first people to really get their hands on, the first niggas to get their hands on, we the first ones. Look what we're doing with it. We the first ones to get our hands on it, and look what we're doing with it. You want to know why? You want to know why? That is only us for, because that's proof that we are the remnants of the Algonquins in America. Who else? Okay. Give y'all a couple minutes. Name another person in the people group in the Americas who is copper color, brown, generally tall, right? Because he is Ahoan, so he's generally tall, right? He got to have long black coarse, able to dreadlock them, natty dread them. You dig what I'm talking about? He got to have the natty dread. You dig what I'm talking about? You see me? He got the natty dread. You know what I mean? Fire lock them. So he got to be brown, generally tall, with long nappy nigga hair, right? Can you find me another people in the world? And hold on, there's another caveat. They must have been overthrown by your people and went through a form of slavery or oppression also, right? This is later on, but we got to throw that in the caveat too, because this is how you describe these people called the North American Indian. The remnants of the Algonquins. Can anybody name me a person, a people group in the America that is generally tall, brown skin, with long black nigger hair, and is generally proportioned very well because he is a mix between the Ahoan and the Ain, so he would be athletic and gotta have gone through a sort of oppression. Can you name a people group in the America that fits that definition, what would we call them today? Hit me in the chat. What would we call them people today? Mm-hmm. That's right, BC. You, me, right? So that means they lied. Somebody lied. They ain't told the truth. Half the truth ain't been told. Really, the story ain't never been told. If we don't know that we the remnants of the Algonquins and the only voice in the world bringing this jaja, bringing this higher light, this high vortexian light to the world is 4 men and the people of the created game, right? The horsemen. Shout out to the horsemen. Daryl Cosmon Cal. You dig what I'm talking about? Yeah. Selah Shalom, Malachi Maccabee, riding and standing on it. Why you think that he brought 4 niggas to the 4 real ones, some stand on it type dudes to bring out and rock with Owaspy to be the first? And why you think ain't nobody whoop us? Don't you think if they could have came out and shut us up by now, they would have? Before Cap got embarrassed, before Zion Lex got embarrassed, before everybody who came or ran from us embarrassed themselves. This is just a whole nother. See, we not pigeonholed to nothing. You can't hold me to nothing. The earth is my turf. I just happen to be a remnant of the Algonquin, but I understand that this thing go back further than me. It's bigger than me. This is the greatest story never told. This is why the Algonquin story is of the great flood, the Amaruka. First of all, remember, Amaruka come from a place. Remember, he a man telling a story, right? He comes from a place that sunk in the Pacific. Guess what it's called? Pine. Right in the Algonquin story. Where you get it from? You got it from your other half. Your mound builder stuff. The so-called mother. And she did that to the world as a culture. But I am literally, physically proof, ain't it beautiful, that the remnants of the Algonquins, right, who have a Bible with considerable power today, right, their voice would be bringing out this word, but it's only the Algonquins today. And it's only 4 men. It's only 4. And I just happen to be literally one of them. I ain't doing it. I ain't saying I'm special. It's just a fact. You dig what I'm talking about? It's just a fact. And then, hold on, we see this, right? They had long black hair. Let me scoot it back over. Black and coarse, and their skin was brown, copper colored, right? This is us right here, the Angui, the Negro. Right? You're a remnant of the Algonquins. Right? You are of the Ahuan, the copper-colored race. Right? And the proof that you are who you are is that they will find these mounds, the relics of the great Ahuan, mound builder stock. And that will be testimony that the Ayin, the mound builder stock, foreran the Ahuin, you, the copper-colored race, all over the world. But really, you, us, are the mix between the Ayin and the Ahuin. This is Pa, this is Ma. Or in the Americas, this is called Ma and Ya. That's where you get the understanding. You dig what I'm talking about? Hold on one second, y'all. All right. You dig what I'm talking about? So this is where you even get your understanding of Ma, or negative, earth, mother, regenerative, birth, life, negative, corporeal, physical, and going forth, dominating, destroying, destruction, building. You dig what I'm talking about? Bringing forth. You dig what I'm talking about? Or the male aspect. All right. Funny that the Ma and the Ya are also what? The copper-colored race. Also, if you go over to the other side of the world, it's Na and Ga. But nonetheless, an Angui. Right? But the ones in America are Ahuin, right? But the ones in America, the North American Indians, was put here on purpose by the Creator, right? Put here on purpose. And ain't no more like you. There's nobody else like you in the world. All right? All right. We're about to warm it up real quick. Let me get it. Hold on. Let me go back to. Let me go back to. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Hold on. I want to rock this. And we're going to get up out of here real quick as we leaving, man. If y'all got a little something up out of this, man, you dig what I'm saying? And let you know that your history ain't it's not just pinned here to the Americas either, man. The earth is your turf. You dig what I'm talking about? Remember, Creator say, I gave you a physical body to learn physical things, but then I created death so that you could die and rise and inherit my ethereal heavens, man. This ain't it. This ain't it. It's more. The understanding that you Algonquin just okay, it's good. It's okay, cool. Do what you can do, get what you can get. All right, whatever. Right? But there's something after that can't even get. It's that like, even if you even just still holding on to that, like it's, oh, I'm bigger and better than you or anybody, or you dig what I'm talking about? That can't even get to the higher heavens. Every religion say that. That's one thing that every religion had, right? It's right. It's good and bad and everything. You dig what I'm talking about? But every religion had that, right? I'm just saying, man. It's just a lot. It's a lot that's going on, man. Fair use for teaching purposes only, man. You dig what I'm talking about? I'm gonna get up out of here with that. You dig what I'm talking about? If you got something though up out of this, man, let's just get the vortex going real quick. Get the vortex going real quick. Get some energy moving up in this thing. You dig what I'm talking about? No, I'm not Ojibwe, bro. No, I'm Algonquin. You dig what I'm talking about? I'm from the great tribe of Honga, the first of the first, descent of Iwata. You fucking with it? Ah! I'm different, bro. I'm not one of them. I'm not one of them. I'm one of the sons of Haunga. Yeah, I do that. I practice this shit. I know it. That's all I'm saying. I'm not for play. I've never been.
Going over ancient Black tribes in the Americas. Now, this book is called The Crisis. All right, watch this. It says, even as late as 1775, Francisco Garces was able to come up on a distinct race of Black men living side by side with the Zunis of the New Mexico Pueblos. He related that the Blacks were the first inhabitants of the area, and suffice it to say that the description he gave of them leaves no doubt that they were Negroes. So Francisco Garces said in New Mexico, he came up on a tribe of Negroes, and they were the first inhabitants of that area. Do y'all understand this? And because it kills me how these people always claim that we don't have any sources. I gave you the source. Francisco Garces,
you know
he's
what?
The one who said that.
You know what's another
Okay?
thing, man?
Now
I
watch
had to
this.
realize people are slow. People are really slow. Just because people are saying there are people who are aboriginal to America doesn't negate or refute or even dispute the fact that there are still people who are aboriginal to Africa, aboriginal to India, aboriginal to Asia, aboriginal to, you see what I'm saying, to every place on the planet. I think people think just because one thing is doesn't mean another thing isn't. And I don't think they understand that both things can be true at the same time. They always try to limit the creator, and they limit their thinking so much, they put themselves in a box they can't even ever get out of. You dig what I'm talking about? Wait till I make my move. Nigga, watch me work, man. Shout out to Go.
It says, this observation was made about the same time the French explorer Le Perouse was witnessing a similar phenomenon in California. He also found there a race of Blacks whom he immediately denoted as Ethiopians. So this is another part. You got a tribe of Negroes, pre-Columbian Negroes in New Mexico, and then you got a tribe of Negroes in California. You understand? Two different groups of people. American Indian legends abound with accounts of Black men who came to them from far-off lands. Aside from the report that Columbus obtained at Hispaniola, a notable tale is recorded in the Peruvian traditions. They inform us of how Black men coming from the east had been able to penetrate the Andes Mountains. Furthermore, Indian traditions of Mexico and Central America indicate that Negroes were among the first occupants of that territory. That's why
Now, a lot of people ain't gonna catch it, right? But I'm gonna show you. We proven that not only that, in the end of the day, they ended up turning around and deifying you. You wasn't no weak people. You had technology. And listen, just watch. Remember who you are. This is why you must learn who you are, because they're gonna turn around and tell you was God. Watch this.
I told you guys, if you guys don't know, I'm gonna go over a lesson to show you guys where the real name of America comes from. It says some Indians there yet claim descent from these same Blacks. A contemporary anthropologist has convincingly demonstrated that several Indian tribes in this area have developed out of early Negro stocks. Several Indian tribes have developed out of early Negro stocks. So they're again going over with the Zunis, the same thing. It says, at this juncture, it must be pointed out that the localities of these Negroid Indians correspond to the last detail with the areas where early African settlements were found. Other descendants of pre-Columbian Negroes were either destroyed by the onslaught of the Spanish conquest or eventually absorbed into the slave system. You see that? So right there, you see how they tell on they.
So now we know that these so-called pre-Columbian Negroes,
you see
right?
how they tell on themselves.
So-called pre-Columbian Negroes, the American Indian, right, is called an Angui. This is what they call themselves. We know that, right? This so-called Negroid Indian, right, who was pre-Columbian, right? We know it's called an Angui and is a descent of the people we call Algonquin today, right? Misnomered as nigger, Negro, right? We know that. Remember, the people type is called what? Ahua. And many times, right, the God was deified, right? Pay attention.
I understand what I just read. Let me read that bottom part again. It says Negroes. It says other descendants of pre-Columbian Negroes were eventually absorbed into the slave system. What are they telling you right there?
They got
that
war
the blacks
again.
of America did not come here on slave ships.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? That's why I wanted to point that part out. They didn't come here on slave ships. Y'all took these indigenous aboriginals that looked like Negroes and y'all enslaved them and changed their race to Negro slave. Just like you see on the slave ads, you see these ads, these are American Indians on these ads, and they changed their race to Negro slave.
I had a buddy who showed this. You dig what I'm talking about? Like he was doing something. You dig what I'm talking about? No offense, my baby. But we had to show you this is made up. Right? This is fake. Why would Africans be dressed like American Indians? It's not real, bro. Remember, they genocided us on paper before they ever tried the war. They made you disappear on paper.
Slave. That's exactly what happened. Y'all took these indigenous people.
I want
That's
you to
exactly what happened.
That whole little
on these
thing
ads, on the slave ads,
you it's fake. It's not even
and
real.
Changed their race to Negro slave.
Watch this.
Just like you see on the slave ads, you see these ads. These are American Indians on these ads, and they changed their race to Negro slave. That's exactly what happened. Y'all took these indigenous people who look like Negroes, who was already here way before Columbus and anybody else, who are the original people of the land. Y'all took those people, enslaved them, and called them something else. It says an examination of ancient Indian religions yields additional information on the condition of early Africans in the Americas. Several Indian nations, such as the Mayans, Aztecs, and Incas, worshipped black gods along with their other deities. And the Mayan religion particularly exemplifies the high esteem in which the Negroes were held. You see that? So my thing is, if y'all trying to claim that blacks were never here, why is these so-called Native Americans worshiping black gods? Why are they worshiping these black gods? If they never seen these people before, how would they know what they look like?
Did you catch it? Look right here. Ek meaning dark. Right? Black. It's the word also for chocolate. Ek. Dark. This is the name of their god. Right? They had black deities, Quetzalcoatl. Right? The serpent god and Messiah. And Ek. Who? Who is it? ahua. You everywhere. Your first representation of a God on earth in the Americas was you. These people were so great, even you, the Mayan, even you, Aztec, even you, Inca, worship these black aboriginal gods of America, the ahua.
Look like in order to worship them.
You start to see, you start to realize you God, you can start seeing yourself as God. Peace to all the righteous gods and Nirvanian goddesses, man. Gang, gang in this thing.
How would they know what they look like in order to create these gods? You see what I'm saying? Like, y'all, this is what people will sit up and they will ignore this information to the end. They will not give us the just due credit of who we are. It says, among the black deities, Quetzalcoatl, the serpent god and Messiah, and Echua, the traitor god and war captain, are the most revealing. There's
Ahua, the traitor god, war captain, are the most revealing. Their surviving portraits show them black, copper colored, negroidal, brown, with long black nigga hair, woolly hair. The first depiction of God was you.
Surviving portraits show them black and woolly haired, to have been unmistakably Negro. Do you see that? Their gods, they said their gods were black and woolly haired. They pointed that out. Okay, they made sure these is Negroes they talking about. It is important to note here that serpent worship in the same form can still be found today.
Said calling it serpent worship. Wasn't no serpent worship. We understand that as faithists, right? The sign of the great serpent, the Tao sign, We know it's a science. It's an understanding. It's how you prophesy. It's how you prove where you are galactically and on the planet, so you can provide for and see calamities coming. How do you think they always told you somebody came right before calamity and told them, yo, y'all got to move over here, something about to happen? Every time. Without fail. That understanding is in America called Khan. You take that same understanding across the seas to Egypt, it is called Ankh. Guess what it is also? A circle. Right? The cross and the dip, they don't understand. They wear it as a symbol, like a fashion sign. They don't even know it goes on top of a map. They don't even know it's a pointer. They wear it because it's cute. They don't even know that it was used in old divination practices of how to prophesy. See, absolute rules govern prophecy. That's what they didn't forgot about. And that's what my Aboriginal brothers got to tap back into. Till you get here, you can't even get where you need to be. You can't find the oneness. Till you realize you, Ahua, was God at one time. And God has always been a physical being, and you've always known that, and you've always known the difference between Manito, God, and Gichi, creator. And until you make that understanding, you make that leap in logic that every creation has a creator, including God, you ain't there yet. You ain't even fulfilled the old law. That's why they hating on OISP. They comfortable.
Bingo land. So don't say we don't have no proof. Make sure y'all stay tuned. I'm gonna do part 2 on this video shortly. Peace.
Man, shout out to the research guy. You dig what I'm talking about? Stop sharing. You dig what I'm talking about? Anybody? There it go, man. It is what it is, man. We got to keep expanding. The thing ain't to stay stagnant. Nothing can stay still. Creator say that. All things are in motion. He said in the beginning, I spoke and motion was and is. Nothing can stand still. You dig what I'm talking about? Basically, you're in a condition right now of condensation and dissolution. We call it life. In life is motion. I'm just trying to tell you. You dig what I'm talking about? Spread the word. Spread the word. Support the channel. You dig what I'm talking about? I ain't monetized. I ain't doing this for no money. I don't even do that. But I'm saying support the real. You dig what I'm talking about? Kick the fake to the side. It is what it is. I'm gonna be here. You dig what I'm talking about? It's about getting my people to the understanding, man, that you're not limited no more. Love yourself. Love on your brother. Do something good for somebody else. That's service to the Creator. When we can get that right there, communal living is nothing, man. Shout out to the gang. Shout out to my brother Thomas. Shout out to the Garifuna. You dig what I'm talking about? Those who know. You dig what I'm saying? The earth is my turf. I claim all America because I am Guatamian, the original. The remnant of the Algonquins. Son of Haonga. You dig what I'm talking about? Descended from Oidu. And we and Otter. You dig what I'm saying? I come from the mud. You dig what I'm talking about? From the sons of Mu. Really, however you want to say it. It is what it is. You dig what I'm talking about? Until you can go back further than that, you ain't talking about nothing with Cosmon. Till you understand that the flood happened 22,553 BC and can prove it, you ain't talking about nothing with Cosmon. Dig what I'm talking about? Anybody want to come in? Just keep it going for a minute. Dig what I'm talking about? Right? Till you master the timetables of prophecy. What are you talking about? You can't even tell time. Ask one of these so-called smart guys, one of the PhDs, to tell you what time it is and how do you prove it since the creation of man without using the Gregorian calendar. Are you under a belief? To my Christian brothers, sisters, my Hebrew brothers, sisters, Nazarenes, Essenes, you dig what I'm talking about? Peace, love, and light to y'all out there. You dig what I'm saying? But your God even told you in your Bible, your Torah, your Tanakh, that he gave you the stars, the sun and the moon, and how to reckon time. Do you know how to tell time using the moon and the sun? If not, why not? Have you asked your God? He told you that's what it's for. Did he turn around and give you the step for step of how to do it? No, that's only in Owaspy. And when you do, when you learn how to tell time, you'll have a timetable of prophecy, right? You'll have the absolute rules of mathematics, the rise and falls of arcs, which all time is measured in. Yes, gamma ray, huh? It's light all day. You just got to be able to perceive at the higher light spectrum. You know what I mean? Shout out to my eye. We don't be dissing. You dig what I'm talking about? But, Kemet next. Kemet next. You dig what I'm talking about? Got a few irons in the fire, but just wanted to come through, drop some things. You dig what I'm talking about? I got that. I could keep going. I got more and more information. You know what I mean? But I just want to keep it short and sweet. You dig what I'm talking about? I don't want to overload. And you dig what I'm talking about? Too much this new information, because I understand it causes cognitive dissonance. You never heard this before. I know. You know what I mean? It's hard to believe. You dig what I'm saying? Or to understand that you got taught that you were African in school. Your mama never told you that. Your grandmama never told you that. Nobody in your family ever told you that. And if they did tell you that, you dig what I'm talking about, they was awesome. Oh, we were slave ass niggas from Africa, and they actually haven't even done the history themselves. They just repeated the story they was told. Because when you asked them, well, what tribe was we from? We don't know. Slavery. We had that slavery. And I ain't saying slavery didn't happen in some sorts and instances, but I'm saying we played a part in it too. Who you think was buying all them people from Europe and Africa? And I dare anybody to show me. What color was the people who was getting it? I don't deny that trans-African slave trade, that people came over here from Africa. I'm saying somebody gonna have to prove to me, absolutely, documentation, right, that the people getting off the boats from Africa had brown skin. It doesn't make sense that we're looking for some Africans with brown skin, right? But the only people in the world who has ever called themselves Africans have pale skin and come from Denmark and colonized Western Africa before they ever even got to South Africa. Did y'all know that? They didn't go to South Africa first and colonize South Africa. They colonized West Africa first. The Africans. So does it make more sense, right, that these black nigger people in Africa will be selling other black nigger people to white people who come from Europe? Or does it make more sense that brown-skinned Europeans came down into black-ass nigger Africa and did deals with the black African tribes to buy pale-skinned Africans, pale skins, and put them on the boat, and they got shipped to the Americas? How did these white boys come? Hey, we're coming to buy nigga. What? And to prove that the European was primarily colored, you dig what I'm talking about? A brown skin, is for the fact that many of the early missionaries and all that came from Europe were brown-skinned people. How else could you have got into the tribe? You couldn't have got cool with these people being a pale skin. There's no way. You would have been too odd. There ain't no way. The reason that they even got cool, even start listening, is because you look like the aboriginal. When you acted like you got some sense, they treated you like you got some sense. Then you brought your homeboys with you, and it got to cracking. Finally, after all the treachery being done, and you thought it was over with, 1870 and Reconstruction. Boy, it got bad. Around 1890, right? First of all, at this time, they start denoting anybody of dark skin color who were especially Indians who didn't go to the reservations, right? They started naming Indians who lived outside of the reservations or them plantations, the Aboriginals, the Indians. They start they named them on the census as Negro. 1870. I don't know who the hell we is. Then they burnt the records. 1890. Burnt the patent office. Yet all these patents still be popping up. You know, it is what it is, man. 1890, disenfranchisement generally starts to be called Jim Crow. It starts in 1890. They did disenfranchisement on purpose. They did reconstruction. Okay, first of all, if it's you didn't do construction, you did reconstruction. So that means there was already a foundation there. What are you reconstructing? That the ones really that's now seem to be on the top were on the bottom. But the last should be first, first should be last, man. It is what it is. The table's starting to turn, and the old stories starting to come out. Ain't what they told you. Ain't what we thought. Right? I personally, you dig what I'm talking about? Went looking for my history. Crazy part is it was already written down. Everything. They didn't miss nothing. You dig what I'm talking about? I got histories on 2, 3, 4 family lines that had been written all the way back to 1806. Word for word, kid for kid, all the way into the 2000s. Even had me in the line directly. You dig what I'm talking about? Had my sister in the line, everything. You dig what I'm talking about? They didn't miss nothing. You know what I mean? So ask around. Many times that work already that you're looking for been done. And then crazy part is I go online and do my own genealogy, right? And I'm and plugging the thing in, doing what I do. Man, that thing hit back exactly. And then we found some different spellings of names, and you find a lot, right? But the list that I already had was even more correct than what was online, right? But it was right on, and then it added in other things. So now I got about 8 lines or so. You did what I'm saying, dating all the way back to the 1680s, right? And I believe my 8th great grandfather. He's my 8th great grandfather's name's David Peoples, right? Was purportedly born in the end of the 1850s, early 60s. You did what I'm talking about? And it's supposed to got down in Bacon's Rebellion. You did what I'm talking about? And that People's line still always spoke indigenous languages. end up speaking at Algonquin. You dig what I'm saying? Yeah, the genealogy, that's right, Ema. Genealogy is important, man. Genealogy is important. And then let me show you this. I haven't found one slave getting off a boat, and I also checked the slave records. Never found one slave yet. Right? And I ain't found nobody from Africa. I've been able to trace my family all the way back. So parts of it come from England. I got a 4th, 5th great grandmother, right, named Sarah Godbold, right? Was born in 1825. She migrated to America in 1838 and married my 4th, 5th great grandfather, right? Black. It's a black lady, man. Already from England. She migrated over here, 13-year-old black girl. She married my black, you know what I mean, great grandfather. So the story ain't all what they told it was. You dig what I'm talking about? How's you? And then I got a 7th great grandmama, right? Her name Selassie Tamiakite. And we kept that Kite line for a long time until my people started getting colonized. You dig what I'm talking about? They Christianized our people. They had to go to them schools and all that stuff. And my 4th great grandmama, who they call Maman, they changed their last name from Kite to Coates, from Keyte, Kite to Coates, right? And they call it, and for a minute they still called it Cote, right? And the land that I got, you did what I'm talking about, that's in Michigan, is on Cote Platte. You dig what I'm talking about? That's the land that was left from, that we still have from the old plot. You dig what I'm saying? Crazy part is I found out that the Jones side of my family, my Aunt Madge, Maybe and them, they sent them from down south up here to buy land, and they bought it from the Hurons, the Indians, and we still got it. They was able, my Aunt Madge and them was able to pass. They was real light. You dig what I'm talking about? I had a black mama, Indian daddy. You dig what I'm talking about? They were just light-skinned Negroes too, and they spit out 2 light brights that could pass for. I had to bring the pictures up. I make sure I just get some screenshots and come back up here. We'll get back into more of this. You dig what I'm talking about? Because when you do your own genealogy, man, you find, listen, one of the craziest things that I found, right, that when online, it kind of tripped me up, was that, okay, my 5th, 6th great grandmother, Harriet, right, had a brother named Mark. No. Had a brother named Steve, right? Harriet, my 6th great grandmama, had a brother named Steve, right? And this is crazy. Her best friend was named Harriet, who had a brother named Mark, right? Mark and Stephen was best friends, right? And Harriet was best friends. So 2 brothers and sisters was best friends. Mark ended up marrying one Harriet, and Steve ended up marrying his boy's sister. So they married each other's sisters and brothers. Those is my set of fifth great grandparents, best friends. Well, it makes sense though. You mess around, who you marry, who you around. It makes sense. You dig what I'm talking about? So that was a little rubble double because I got a they like grandparents because they gave both lines. You dig what I'm talking about? It's crazy. You dig what I'm talking about? Because one is my uncle and one is my grandmother. But they the brother on the other side. Too. You see what I'm saying? It links the two lines. And so when it get down from that, and those is my Donnell and Hollis lines. You dig what I'm talking about? Which become my Jones line. You see what I'm saying? Which is my grandfather. You dig what I'm talking about? Line. It's crazy. It's crazy. You dig what I'm talking about? You get to go back, man, and it's beautiful. But look, man, it's getting about that time, man. And hope y'all got a little something up out of this, man. I'm gonna just go ahead and check out, man. Breathe in. Let the light in, man. I'm Cosmo, and I'm out.